Hello and welcome to As Built, the podcast from Graphic Machine about architecture firms, buildings, and how both get built. I am Patience Jones, your co-host. With me as always is
Brian Jones,
your other co-host. Thank you for joining us. Today's episode is called It's Not About You, which is very dramatic. So in every marketing effort, there's an inherent bias. You are talking about you, and you're talking about your firm and the challenges that you faced and the way that you overcame them. And this is totally natural, and it's how everybody does marketing, because there isn't any other way to do it. Or is there? So in this episode, we're going to talk about another way to look at marketing and how that way is influenced by consumer trends. Drop some knowledge on me.
Sure. Start with a few facts. According to Gartner, which is a leading provider of insights, business-to-business buyers, or B2B, prefer self-directed research. And we'll provide links to these in the show notes. Forrester, another leading research entity, has noted that the walls between the way that businesses buy and consumers buy is becoming increasingly similar. So think about the way that e-commerce has proliferated throughout our entire existence. And then when you couple this with a side of things like that 86% of consumers say personalization plays a role in their purchase decisions, you start to have a different opinion of what that really means as far as marketing. You think about the way that architecture firms traditionally market themselves, which is that you have a website and you have a portfolio. And that's usually not tailored or personalized in any meaningful way. And it's not really designed to help make that buying decision in a self-researched way.
So let's break this down a little bit. So essentially what we're seeing and what the research supports is people want to find things themselves on their own terms when they want to find them in the way that they want to find them. But they also want those efforts to feel personalized to them.
And personalized can mean like what you may, hey, Brian, this is a perfect product for you. But it also can mean that the company has thought about the particular trouble spots that people find themselves in and how their product solves your problem. And so the page may feel hyper specialized for that problem, but you're like, hey, this is personalized for me. This is exactly what I was looking for. And everyone's kind of had that, searching for an answer to a problem.
As opposed to, hey, here's my company, here's all this stuff.
We sell doors, or we do schools.
And call me or get on this chat and I'll tell you what you need and I'll tell you how to find it is sort of the old way of doing it. Now it's, I want to know if this is the right product for me. I want to know if this is the right firm for me. I want to know what your capabilities are. I want to know who your people are. And once I have satisfied all of the research that I can do for myself, then I will decide if I want to talk to you or not. And I'm not going to decide to talk to you if I can't find anything.
I mean, think about it as that somebody has essentially come closer to becoming a client. And so it's a good thing, but it requires a lot of strategic thought about how you structure your communications and the position that your communications take. Because it can't just be like, sift through our stuff and I hope you find what you're looking for.
If you want it badly enough,
yes,
you'll hire us.
I mean, there are so many sites that feel like that. It's like a dare to look through there.
Well, and when you talk to some companies and some firms, that is their position.
Yeah.
I don't want to do work. You have to want it.
Yeah.
You have to work for it and you have to want it. And
the part number?
Yeah. We were in a store the other day and we said we'd seen something online and we described it and the person swore up and down that they didn't have it in the store. And finally they said, do you have the part number? And yeah, that was a good example of, and of course Brian did and brought it up and it turned out they did have it in the store. Surprise.
But you shouldn't bank on that.
Yeah, don't bank on that.
So I think the thing here is that what's easy in marketing is that your projects, and you feel like you don't want to limit the possibilities of what somebody might ascribe to your projects. And so the temptation is to say, I'll just put the work out there and that everyone will figure out what they might get from it. And that's true for both architecture firms and it's true for building materials firms, because you're worried about if I start to put any constraints on it, suddenly I've alienated somebody who might otherwise hire me or choose my product. Well, Good news, bad news situation. The good news is that you can never ascribe things to anything. The bad news is that that actually is turning away people because they don't know if their problem will actually be solved by hiring you or by using your product. So it's just one of those things.
I think too, part of it stems from what we as marketers told people for a long time. This is sort of like maybe the second wave of this problem. The first wave was when websites sort of started and people were just putting out, here's the name of my firm, here's my address, here are some pictures. So the advice that marketers gave, which was right at the time, was it's not enough to just say what you do. You have to talk about yourself and you have to talk about the obstacles that you encountered and you have to talk about how you overcame them, which is true. But what got not addressed was the second part of that. What does that mean for somebody hiring you? And what is somebody looking to hire you? So we're not saying don't talk about yourself, don't talk about the project, don't talk about what you did. What we're saying is talk about those things, but through the lens of the person who's going to be buying your services or your products. If you made a particular design decision, why did you make that decision? And what did it do for the property owner or the occupants of that property or the surrounding community? What problem did it solve in their language and in their terms?
And the way that they think about it. That's usually the hurdle of a lot of firms, is to really put themselves in the shoes of people who are going to hire them to do their services. And I know we've talked about this a little bit in the past, which is that it's our tendency to market to other people also in our industry. And so you can lose sight of who the people are who are really hiring you. And that can lead you to a very myopic view of what you need to cover and how you need to talk about it. But
I mean, it's interesting. You can kind of parallel it with how we think about search engine optimization. When firms say and companies say, well, I want to rank for these words. Why? Well, because those are the words I use. Well, what are the words that the people looking to hire you use? If they're different, those are the words that you should be.
Well, and the more that you place yourself in their shoes, the more compassion you'll have, the more you'll begin to understand what really resonates with them and what really persuades them, which is at the end of the day, kind of a key component of marketing, is persuading people that they have found the right solution to their problem.
I know there's usually at least a handful of people in every firm that are like, I just want to weed out the bad prospects and the people that aren't good fits for us. Well, this is another way to do that. Because if you're explaining this is how we solve problems, or this is the type of problem we solve for this type of client, and a prospect comes and it's very clear that you have never done that kind of work before, or you don't want to do that kind of work, or that's not how you're going to approach something, then it's okay that that person move on.
And even if you are catering to a highly specialized audience, so that you're a building materials company selling to architects, for instance, like, just because that audience has a specific amount of training and knowledge base does not mean that they aren't also distracted. So this is really critical, is getting into their mindset on what do they need to see right away to be able to know that they found the right place and that that they've engaged with the right place.
Well, distracted and or they have outdated information, because maybe they did a lunch and learn 4 years ago, but your product has been completely overhauled since then. And if you aren't able to show them what it can do for them from their standpoint, they're just going to assume it's the same thing as her, and why should I bother?
So let's talk a little bit before we close this out about what you can do to kind of get some information to help drive some of these decisions. And I will start off. The first one I think that you need to do is you need to ask questions of your existing clients. It's the number one thing that you should be doing. It should just be part of your practice of saying, okay, how did you come to this decision? Or how did you arrive at picking us? These are really critical things to understand.
I mean, even things like, was it easy to find what you were looking for on the website? Was there anything you wish had been on the website that it wasn't? If people are constantly asking you to send them a particular brochure or a particular spec sheet or something, that's something that should be on the website. And you can put it behind a gate so that they have to give you their name and email address before they download it. That's a way to get contact information, but it's also a way to make sure that the people that are getting it are the people who should have it if you have concerns about that. That's also another way to think about, okay, what do we need to do to be able to help the people that are looking for what we're selling? And if you notice that people keep asking the same questions over and over again, when they're talking to you on the phone or they're emailing you, that means that that information wasn't, even if it's on your website somewhere, it wasn't easy for them to find. It wasn't obvious enough. So now you have to start thinking about ways to make that easier. And if you're a building materials company, a really good option is to have an FAQ. It doesn't mean everybody will go there.
Point.
It's a good starting point.
And kind of underlying everything that you just described is the idea and notion that this is a continual process. This isn't something that you do once and then you set it aside and it's never thought of again. You should really get comfortable with the idea that this is something that you need to revisit with some frequency.
Yeah. And make notes of when people tell you, I didn't know you did that. I thought you didn't carry that anymore. I didn't know you carried this. I didn't know you did that kind of work. I couldn't find this. I wasn't sure about that. All of those things are signals of the types of information that you should probably be making it easier for prospects to find.
It's about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's not.
What do you think the big takeaways are from this episode?
Oh, not to get too existential, but too late. I think it's probably to see your business as existing to provide something to someone else, not existing to fulfill your own sense of purpose or existence. It can do that too. But when you're thinking about positioning your outward communications, is everything that we're doing designed to help a prospect find us, to help them qualify us, to help them get what they need, to help them engage with us?
Who's the star?
Yeah. I mean, that's such a
cliche, but
well, I feel like in our industry, it's just used all the time, but it is very true, which is make your client the hero, make your client the star. It's a hard sell to a lot of places. If you can do that, it's just so much better for your sales cycle and also for how the client or the customer feels about you.
And it helps people feel that you are concerned with their needs and that you're there to help them reach a good outcome.
And if they do decide to work with you, that everything won't be a fight all the time, that they won't constantly be having to pester you for, well, where's this and how do I find this and why won't you call me back? And they will subconsciously start to believe that you are going to take care of them, which is what you want.
And I think that would be my final takeaway, is that it's an ongoing process that needs to be thought about with some frequency. That doesn't mean it's an everyday process, but it's definitely something that you need to revisit your communications maybe quarterly. Maybe that's a great place to start to see, does it still align with what we're seeing in practice?
Exactly. Well, thank you for letting us communicate with you today, and we will talk to you next time.